Hey, I'm Jere Gettle, and I'm from Baker Creek Seed Company, and we're here at the National Heirloom Expo. A few years ago, actually it's been about 7 years now, we started thinking it would be fun to have an event where people could get together from around the country and beyond and share seeds and stories, look at fruits, listen to speakers, and connect with other farmers and gardeners. And that's really what kind of brought about the National Heirloom Expo here in Sonoma County. Many years ago, they used to have a lot of agricultural expositions where people would bring produce and other things together and take a look at what other people were growing, other companies were growing, to get ideas and trade information. And they had become more and more corporate, and less for the small farmer and for the gardener. So that's what the Heirloom Expo is trying to fill, that gap for the small farmer, the organic farmer, the gardener who is really excited about heirloom varieties. And as far as Sonoma County, California, we thought it was a perfect location because there's so much produce in this area and so many small farmers, and also airports close by. So it was a great location and a beautiful fairgrounds here. Feels sort of like you're in the country on the fairgrounds here. So it's not noisy with traffic. You have a big open area, and lots of people can come and have a good time, and lots of room for kids to run around, and also plenty of buildings for lectures. And people are just excited. We've met people from all over the country and many other places like Korea and Bosnia and France and Jamaica and Mexico, and on. The list goes on and on, all the places where people have came from. In about 1998, I thought I needed to put out a price list. I'd grown up knowing I wanted to someday, work in gardening, and also especially seed saving and selling seeds, even as a small child. And so when I was about 17, 18 years old, we sent out the price list. It went out to about 550 homes, and it had about 70 varieties in it. And each year since then, more and more people have become aware of heirlooms, and the catalog has continued to grow. Now we have approximately about 1,800 varieties in the catalog or more, and shipping it out to every state, about 600,000 copies. People are really, every year getting more and more, I think, into growing their own food. And it's my passion to preserve the old varieties, and every year we take trips and find other people who are taking trips, and our staff who are taking trips, and we're always looking for interesting things. Right now we're looking for green-fleshed squash. There's ancient watermelons. We're on the way home from the Heirloom Expo. We're going to go and stop and try to find the cave where the ancient watermelons were originally found, the crook-necked watermelon. So there's always something with heirloom stories to be told. Things that were grown by Thomas Jefferson, or varieties that might have came from the ancient Romans, or Native American varieties from China or Japan who are 800 years old, or so many families and stories connected with the seeds. And that's what makes them special, not just the seeds themselves that are so amazing and beautiful, the varieties, but also the stories that go with them. Yeah, I see heirloom seeds as a means for farmers, especially those into natural and organic, and people that are into permaculture, any type of farming where you're trying to do away with basic chemicals in your food supply. Heirlooms have an advantage simply because you can select varieties that are from climates similar to yours, or even varieties that might be local to your town. Like right here where we're at, there's varieties that were developed right here in this county. And that gives you an advantage, potentially, of finding things that were adapted to your climate, or finding things that come from an even more extreme climate. Like if you're in the deep south, finding a variety that might come from tropical Africa where they have extreme pests, or Southeast Asia. And that's the advantage of these seeds versus hybrid varieties that were selected in, say, California or New York, or some climate where it's like a perfect, like if we're in Missouri, oftentimes varieties from Thailand do better than varieties from a cool part of California, like coastal California. If you're in Central Valley, where it's really hot, you don't want a lettuce that was developed to grow on the coast in California. You want a lettuce that was developed to grow in the heat somewhere, Texas or Central Valley, maybe where you're at. So finding varieties that are from similar climates is very important. Plus the whole ability to save your own seed. That's probably the most important. With heirloom varieties, you you're in control of the seed, not the government, not corporations, not even your neighbor. I mean, if you want to, you can take it down to putting yourself in charge of your own seeds with the help of your neighbor, potentially, with them saving some too. So that way, but when it comes down to the end of the day, you have some seeds in your drawer or your chest or your garden that you can resave the seeds from. You're not dependent on another party in order to save your own seed.